Hello, everybody. It's Dylan Tyrrell Reeve here, but you probably know me better as Joesph Tyrrell, former Phoenix Wrestling referee, and it is my privilege to be back here on the James Nation YouTube channel. Hard to believe it was nearly 2 years ago since I was on this channel doing an interview as Phoenix Wrestling referee. Fun fact for you, the day I did that interview was the last time I was in the Phoenix Academy. Isn't that crazy? Life goes very, very fast. But James very kindly asked me to answer a few questions, I should say, just about wrestling and some other stuff I've been doing. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get into it. The first question James asks is, who is your favorite wrestler and why? My all-time favorite wrestler is The Undertaker. I have The Undertaker symbol tattooed onto my leg. That is how much of an inspiration he's been to me. I just think his longevity, the fact that he was always able to adapt his character depending on what time he was in. So, like in the Attitude Era, you had Biker Undertaker, a little bit of the Ruthless Aggression era as well. Then, like when he was, the Phenom, when he came back as the Phenom in 2004, the way he was able to bring in that kind of MMA style as opposed to the kind of slow style he would have had in kind of the mid 90s or early 90s when he debuted. I think it's really, really impressive that he got to do it for as long as he did. And then to end it with the cinematic match, kind of tying in everything he'd done in his career, was just amazing. Honourable mention does go to Kurt Angle, though, who I was lucky enough to meet last week. Kurt Angle has not just been an inspiration in terms of his actual wrestling. Like some people might know, I did a bit of amateur wrestling back in the day, and he was a big reason why I did that. And he always just taught me that in life you never can leave your mistakes define you. You have to push on, push through, and you can always be better than how you're feeling at a certain time. I think Kurt Angle has been a big inspiration there, and also I am a Christian man as well, and Kurt Angle was a big reason for that. By Christian, I mean the religion, not the wrestler, but I love Christian the wrestler too. Anyway, Undertaker and Kurt Angle, to make a long story short. What is your favourite wrestling move and why? This is easy for me. By far, the F5. It just looks so fucking cool. I love moves that are like kind of like they look simple to do, but they just look cool. Like it, I want to give someone an F5. I'm a huge Brock Lesnar fan as well. He's definitely on my Mount Rushmore of wrestling. Very underappreciated. I think the original run he had from '02 to '04 as the next big thing, and then coming back after his UFC run and being the Beast Incarnate and the Street Conqueror. I just think Brock Lesnar is amazing, and the F5 is just looks like a devastating move as well. I think an honourable mention would have to go to the Phoenix Splash. I know sometimes people are a bit iffy about moves that look very flashy or whatever, but I love me a good Phoenix Splash, and anything with the name Phoenix in it, I have a little bit of a soft spot for. Unless it's the Liverpool crest, then it can fuck off. Up next, James asks, what is your favourite company and why? My favourite company in the world of pro wrestling is WWE. I'm wearing a New Japan Pro Wrestling jacket, right? I love New Japan. I think what AEW are doing is great. I think it's good for the business. I think it's good for the wrestlers. It gives them more places to work. I think it's good for fans. It's good to have an alternative there. And that's all great. But in terms of a promotion that has defined me as like a person and as a fan, WWE is just... it doesn't get bigger than WWE for me. It just doesn't. Between WrestleMania, the Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, just the larger-than-life characters, like I mentioned, Undertaker, John Cena, Kurt Angle, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the list goes on and on. Brock Lesnar. There's just so many to name, and it's just like WWE will always just feel larger than life, because it is in a way. You know what I mean? And there's obviously a bit of negativity towards WWE these days. I think it's because of, people don't like PG products. People don't like the audience they try to cater to now. It's quite, there is kind of, I think there's two different audiences WWE look for. There's the younger audience and there's the hardcore audience that will watch no matter what. But it was just the way Cody Rhodes returned at WrestleMania. Really, that was when I realized that nobody will ever be bigger than WWE. Nobody. And that's not to discredit any other company. I think AEW is, as I said, it's great. I think it's done wonders for the business. They've obviously got a show coming up with New Japan, which I think will be a lot of fun. Mexico, in Mexico, they've got a lot of great promotions. But for me, WWE is just everywhere else is here, and WWE is here. But that's not to discredit here, because you have to be really good to get here as well. You know what I mean? But WWE just, it's the Mecca. It is the Mecca, and I don't think that's ever going to change. Up next, it's my favourite wrestling match and why. My favourite wrestling match of all time. People are probably sick of hearing me talk about it. It's Sami Zayn versus Adrian Neville for the NXT Championship at NXT TakeOver or Evolution in 2014. That match made me fall back in love with pro wrestling. Yes, back in the day, kind of 2013. Yeah, it was just after WrestleMania 29, so 2013. I fell out of love with wrestling a little bit. I wasn't really enjoying the product as much. I wasn't really getting as much enjoyment out of it as I had previously. Still loved going back to watch some old stuff and things like that, but I wasn't really enjoying the modern wrestling world. And I fell out of love with it a little bit. And I kind of slowly started coming back into it around the time CM Punk left, because I just thought that was interesting that, oh, what's going on here with CM Punk? And kind of that summer, the summer of 2014, I was watching Raw every week again because I was off school. Monday night, didn't have anything to do, so started watching Raw again. I was loving what The Shield was doing. The Shield breakup I thought was class. Seth Rollins would have been somebody I would have known from watching Ring of Honor when he was Tyler Black, so that was really cool. And then I ended up watching NXT because I was hearing this buzz about NXT. So I was watching a bit of it. And I bought tickets to a WWE house show in November of 2014. And the opening match that night was Sami Zayn versus Adrian Neville for the title. And it was a fantastic match. Very fun, very good. And it was really cool to see someone like Sami Zayn taking all the inspiration he got from El Generico, who would have trained him. And I think it was really cool that he used moves that his mentor would have passed down to him. Because Adrian Neville would have wrestled El Generico back in the day. So it was good strategy from Sami Zayn to use the offense he got from El Generico, who of course is a totally different person. I thought that was really cool. And then that show with Finn Balor's entrance, the first Demon entrance he did in NXT, with the main event with Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville, just that beautiful story they told. Adrian Neville being more of the heel and Sami Zayn being the babyface. And obviously people forget that what else was on the line that night was Sami Zayn's NXT career. So there was a lot on the line. And then the heel turn from Kevin Owens afterwards. Obviously he debuted that night as well against CJ Parker, who I've trained with, by the way. That was all really great. So yeah, I think Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville is the match that I would put in my favourite of all time. And luckily enough, I've met both Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville when he was known as Pac, and he's now known as Pac, back when OTT were in Cork, and I got to tell them both that they made me fall back in love with wrestling, and they were very humble in their responses, which is great to see. Two lovely guys, really glad to meet them, and yeah, just second to none with that match. Up next, we have, you recently have been doing acting. How is that going for you? Absolutely brilliant. I've been doing an acting course this last year, and it's been fantastic down in Stefan Nefa in Cork City, I should say. And it's just been brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Something I always wanted to do, something that I was very hesitant to do for a while because I was kind of afraid to do it. But being in the wrestling world, I became a lot braver, and I was able to go and do it, and I've been able to perform on a few theatre shows, which has been great. I just did Hot Water Music in the Graffiti Theatre. I did Dividing the Nation, which was about the Irish treaty debates back in the late 1910s and 1920s. That was in St. Peter's, I should say, in St. Peter's Church. That was obviously amazing. Hope they didn't see that I just got the name of the venue wrong. But it's been great. I've learned a lot about myself, not just as a performer, but as a person, and just absolutely loved every second of it, and it's just been brilliant. The follow-up question, which I may as well answer now as well, is what made you want to start acting? So I think, even being in wrestling, one thing I always enjoyed was cutting promos. I think it was probably the thing I was best at. I was always very confident in my promo ability, and I just love performing. That's just who I am. I love performing, whether it's a sport, whether it's performance art, whether it's sports entertainment. I just love performing, and Obviously, we weren't able to train during COVID, and I was kind of suffering from a bit of a back injury back then. My neck is a bit meh as well. I had a neck injury a few years ago, which never quite fully healed. But I kind of stepped away from wrestling for a bit, and I knew that if I was stepping away, I'd have to go into something else, and that was acting. And this year has been absolutely unbelievable. It's been great to meet the people I've met, to work with the people that I've worked with. It's been a privilege. Like Hot Water Music, which I just performed on a couple of weeks ago. That is the production I'm most proud of ever being a part of. Second to none. The work we put in for it, the stress to get there, the just the people I worked with. It was fantastic. I can't say I've ever been prouder of anything other than that, apart from my Phoenix Wrestling debut. And last, but certainly not least, is the ever asked question. I don't even think that made sense. The most asked question I've probably gotten from people. Is there any chance you'll be back in the world of wrestling? I'm trying not to look like Harry Potter at the moment. My hair keeps going down. Give me a second. Right, sorry about that. Is there any chance I'll come back to the world of wrestling? So when I left Phoenix, I was at a very weird stage with wrestling. I was kind of, I don't want to say I'd fallen out of love with it, but I just felt a bit disconnected from it. I felt like that with Phoenix moving to Limerick and obviously me being in Cork, and I live in the back arse of nowhere in Cork, by the way. It's not like I'm in the city centre. I'm in East Cork, which is, it's a bit away, especially where I live in Cloyne. And I just felt a bit like I don't really want to do this anymore. But I will say that my acting course is finishing soon, and I have a few things set up in terms of, acting training and short films and stuff. So I'm a little bit busy at the moment, but you never know. You never know what might happen. I love wrestling. It's always been a part of me. It always will be a part of me. And hopefully one day, you might see Joesph Tyrrell pop up again. I'll leave that there. Thank you so much, James, for asking me to do this. It really is a privilege. Good to be talking to you again. Been great to see what Phoenix Wrestling have been doing, and OTT as well. All the Irish promotions are absolutely killing it. Very proud of Reardon O'Connor and the progress he's made. Absolutely fantastic to see. He's going to be a big name, lads. Not just here in Ireland, but just in general. So there's a few people you got to watch out for, and I'm looking forward to watching that as a fan. But you never know. One day, you might see Joesph Tyrrell in a Phoenix Wrestling ring once again.